is mental illness. And then we also know that up to 90% of people, some studies will quote 70% to 90% of people that take their lives have one form of mental illness or the other. And the highest of it is depression. So depression as a mental illness is a factor. Other factors are other mental illnesses like bipolar affective disorder. That is more or less like the opposite of depression. Or when people use alcohol and substances, people will think that they can drink away their sorrow. But in the final analysis, it also leads them to depression.
The problem will still be there.
And by the time they get sober, it is usually accentuated because now the alcohol and drug and substances are actually affecting the brain negatively. There are other things like things that we call schizophrenia that make people hear voices that can actually say, go and do it. Go and do it. And then there are some personality types.
And like hallucinations.
Like hallucinations, yes.
Okay.
So and then there are personality type, the type of personality that the people have that can also make them think in the negative concerning issues. Okay. And then, of course, that factor that you talked about is very important too. The social factors. We talked about the economy. You understand? There was this German philosopher that did a lot of work on that. He says that he calls it anomy. The situation in which somebody feels as if he is not connected to society because of his social circumstances. Yes. So it's poverty, but it's more than the poverty. It is about the interpretation of the thing. When somebody believes that he is not part of society, feel alienated from society. And there are some religious institutions or religious sects. You know, in the past we have seen, some people they collectively took their lives because their religious leader told them that is the pathway to getting to heaven. You know, so there are many issues like that that are also going on amongst people. Yes.
Okay, I remember in so many years ago, when you hear cases of suicide, it used to occur among the aged people who must have lived long, and then recently the trend is more prevalent among the youth, especially teenagers, as we read earlier on. Is it that the youth or the teenagers see it as a fashion, as a way of life? Or what's the problem that it's so prevalent now
among youths?
Yes.
Now, there are a number of factors. Like I said, most of the time, it's not always one thing. It's a combination of things. One of the things is that when people are young, they are passing through that period of getting their own identity, getting to understand life, as it were. So sometimes the pressure of life, the pressure of what to do, which course to study, who to marry, and all those kind of things can actually get to them. And then youths actually what we call gregarious. They follow each other and all those kind of things. The advent of social media has made it such that people can hide behind the key and bully others. So that's what we call cyberbully and all those kind of things. Or people look at the social media, they see their friend standing in front of a Ferrari Jeep, and they don't know if this is true or not. They look down upon themselves and all those kind of things. So those are some of the parts of it. However, we also know that right from the beginning, people have been taking their lives. So sometimes this seemingly increasing trend can also be as a result of the fact that anything that happens anywhere in the world now, in the next 1 second, we are also seeing it.
Yes.
Then another factor is what we call copycat suicide. What do I mean by copycat suicide? Now, if somebody takes his life by hanging, and the thing is reported so glamorously. That's why you attended the training we had at our center.
Certainly.
Yes, where we are training media people on how to report this thing responsibly and all that. So if it is reported in such a glamorous way to make it look as if suicide is fashionable, or to go and describe everything, show the scene and everything, the young people tend to demystify it that, oh, if somebody else can do it, I can do it. So they start copying that thing. So it also makes it.
I remember you also mentioned the role the media plays.
Yes.
By reporting incidences,
Yes.
suicide cases
Yes.
like that. Sometimes the media glamorize
Exactly.
the trend.
The trend.
Yes. Thank you so much. Now let's look at the statistics now. It's on record that about 22% of Nigerians suffer from chronic depression, and Nigeria is placed 5th of a survey. Why do you think we have such rising cases of suicide in Nigeria?
One thing that you have to realize is that when the economy seems to be tough, people can lose hope. And that's one thing that about Nigeria. I did a road travel over the weekend, and I can tell you that it's not palatable traveling on Nigerian roads.
But you earlier on said one can be poor and still be happy.
Yes. The thing is that, is there hope? Are there people offering hope? One of the things that make people have this hope is incorporation of mental health and mental health services, either into the school curriculum, into the primary health care and all that. If I ask you now, John, if somebody has depression or any other mental illness, how many hospitals do you know in Jos that can treat such?
I was going to ask you that.
Probably at our center, at Network Center, probably Jos University Teaching Hospital, maybe Quintessential Health Care. Where else? So it's so scarce and far in between. So people are not offered hope. And because people are not easily offered hope, it's not in primary health care where somebody in Kurugi, for example, can they go to their basic health center or comprehensive health center and get such services without them breaking down totally and finally? So, treatment, early detection and treatment is a form of prevention.
But it is also possible that someone who is suffering from depression or having suicide tendencies may not even know where to access help.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They don't know where to access help because help is not easily available. If I ask you, do you know where to access help for malaria or typhoid or hypertension? You can tell me 15.
Certainly.
So because the help is easily available.
So what's the solution?
The solution is what we are doing now, sensitizing the general public, sensitizing our politicians, because we are still going to get to the national state assembly. I like to take things locally because most of the time we talk about national assembly. There's a whole lot that can be done by the state assembly and by the state government. So we want a solution whereby in Jos here, the Plateau State government does not have a single psychiatrist in their employment. I go to Plateau State Specialist Hospital to render my services there, more or less like charity. You can't operate a health system like that. So we say that, okay, people should be employed, services should be made available, the legislature should pass bills and laws to make sure that the government gets this across to our people.
Dear listener, we are discussing suicide in commemoration of the World Suicide Prevention Day, which took place on the 10th of September. And I have in the studio Dr. Kingsley Okonoda, a medical director, Network Center for Addiction Management and Psychological Medicine, State Locust, Jos. He is also a consultant, psychiatrist, Jos University Teaching Hospital, Jos. You can be part of the program through 081-000-81124, 081-000-81124. You're free to call and ask your questions and make contributions as the case may be. All right, doctor, let's continue. Now, we spoke about suicide among the youth.
Yes.
The next question is, can a child be depressed?
Yes, definitely. Let me state here again for emphasis that depression is a mental illness, and mental illnesses actually come from the brain. Children have brains, so children can be depressed. The one of the challenges is that because children are not yet proficient in the act of speaking, they may not be able to put their feelings into words, so they may present in such a way that is not typical of the depression that we know of adults.
Okay, we seem to have a call on the line. Hello? Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Lucky. Go ahead.
You are welcome. Yes.
Yes, we're listening.
Hmm.
But look at the state level, we don't have social services being provided by the state government. And let's have to come to my table of one half analysis that our cost of governance in this country needs to be looked into. We have to reduce this benefit attached to political office holders. So at this morning can be channeled to provide social services, such as education, such as good health, such as food, and unemployment for people. You know, that facilities like light and all, you will not have investors that come to country to invest. So that there is security that will enable investors to come to this country. So in order for us to say, smart governors have led this country to have a very big poverty. Look at the country blessed with a lot of resources and human power. But today, we are rated as one of the poorest people in the world.
Okay.
Because of smart governance.
Okay, Mr. Lucky.
Analysis to discuss about issue of poor governance.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lucky. Thank you, Mr. Lucky. Thank you for calling. Thank you for making your contribution. Right, speaking so much about the economic situation of the country. Well, Doctor, do you think that if the economy of the country improves, that will reduce the rate of suicide and depression?
Yes, I also did a master's in public health, and one of the things that we know about health is the issue of what we call inequity. You know, if there's a distance between the rich and the poor, that can also affect the issue. So now it's not just only about improving the economy; it's about closing the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Are you getting me now?
Yes.
So that inequality, that difference should be reduced so that everybody. You see, a good country is not a place where everybody has a car. A good country is a place where.
Yes, you can go on.
Okay, a good country is a place where the rich can also take the public transport. Are you getting me now? So
Certainly.
Once we improve social amenities and improve services, that will improve economic situation, and that will improve the resilience and improve the life issues concerning our people. So that is going to be very important for government to look at social facilities and social amenities for the people.
Okay, let's take a short break. We will continue.
What happened?
I think it's the cable.
Did she come for the clinic?
No, she didn't. She didn't. Radio Nigeria, Highland 101.5 FM Jos. Well, Doctor, talking about the World Suicide Prevention Day, I learned that action campaign to raise awareness of the scale of suicide around the world. Can you tell us some of the achievements made from the World Suicide Prevention Day?
As you know, we did a number, at least at NetWealth Center for Addiction Management and Psychological Medicine. We did a number of campaigns and trainings, of which we were also part of it. We did training for the media on responsible reportage of suicide. We also did a training for the general public on suicide prevention and resilience and all that. And then we partnered with what we call WST, that's Safe Society Now Trust Fund or something like that. Toasting Your Labody. We had the Suicide Prevention Conference, where we also went on to educate. I was the keynote speaker there to educate the general public about suicide and all that. And then, of course, we also work in conjunction with Suicide Prevention Unit of Jos University Teaching Hospital, that is headed by Dr. Gian, Dr. Batung Gian. Yes. So we have had a number of people making calls, to share their burdens and all that. And so there are a number of cases of people who otherwise would have taken their lives that have been prevented.
Doctor, let's pick this call.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. It's Radio Mama. I don't know calling from Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, ma.
I want to focus my own attention on mainly academic-related suicide.
Okay.
Okay. I want to urge parents to be kind to their wards or children when they don't get admission, because getting admission in Nigeria now is very tough. It's not easy. And then we have all kinds of discriminatory cut-off marks. I know of a particular candidate that scored 280, and because of this discriminatory cut-off marks at the study medicine, that candidate was dropped. And yet somebody else was who had 200 was taken, all in the name of educationally backward area. You see, that's why it's going to restructure this country. Once it's restructured, people can now decide on whether they want to admit people on 100 to study medicine or whatever. You might think what I'm talking about is irrelevant, but it's in fact that if not for the way it was followed up, she would have taken her life. So but she couldn't understand the kind of Nigeria we are operating under. So these things should be, let's say, the federal universities, they don't have enough capacity to absorb these candidates. So when about 2 million will write down, about 1.5 will be qualified. At the end of the day, 500, out of that 500, by the time you have the DC's list, this list, that list, professor's list, the one that goes to the masses is not enough to 200,000. So they take care of that. So the home front is very important.
Okay.
And then mental ill health too. Mental illness. Some people have mental illness and they don't know they have it. When you start seeing a child be withdrawing, behaving in an awkward manner, parents should take a close look and use kind words to them. Stop comparing one child with another. People are different. We are unique in our own way.
Thank you. Thank you, Radio Mama, and I hope parents are listening. Well, Doctor, we had reports of people killing themselves because they failed exams. Certainly. Well, we are gradually coming to the end of the program. Just before we go, now I'm not a medical expert. If one is suffering from depression or has suicide tendencies, how do I know?
All right. One of the first things that you look out for is that people are withdrawn because they are usually sad, low mood. They have low energy, so the thing that they used to do before, they really will not want to do. And then they are losing interest in things that used to interest them. So they are usually withdrawn. They stay by themselves. And then you start seeing also that they start doing things more or less like final rituals, as in they put things into place to say as if they are going, bye-bye you. You understand? There are people who will go to their friends and then tell them, well, if you don't see me again, take care of yourself, things like that. And then sometimes people say things like, I'm tired of life. And these days of social media, when you see people talk like that on social media, don't discard it. When people say, I'm tired of everything, it's better to die, this country is messed up, all those kind of things, then take it seriously and work on it and follow it up. because we have had cases like that. That is the social media that made us know that this person is actually having problem.
Doctor, I said it from the beginning of this program that suicide is one issue that we can never exhaust here. I want to sincerely thank our listener for the time given to us, and of course the producer of this program, Martha Menasara. Good to see you back. She's been on leave. You're welcome. And Tokwe too, thank you for your effort as well. Doctor, it's nice having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And to Maureen Katu, who has been on the console, Andrew Gabriel, the technical man on duty. My name is John Mangay. Stay healthy and don't live in isolation. Thank you. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much, John.
Yes,
that was an interesting one.
We thank God. We thank God.
Time always short.
Time is always short on this program.
Even the one that we spend 1 hour, people